Well, we'll move on from Falcons because we have Adam did speak about it on about the Penix pick. I mean, maybe just give it a minute on the rest of their draft, though, Adam.
Yeah, I think it was very much about the lines, wasn't it, for them? They kind of went very strong on the sort of D line. I don't get the Rukaroro pick. I think it's crazy that Johnny Newton's there. I think that's mental that you don't do that. I like Braylon Trice. I think it's a good pick. Their fourth round pick, I think he's a versatile guy. And JD Bertrand was a defensive team captain, wasn't he, at Notre Dame? So I think there's some decent stuff there. I think it's shocking that they didn't look at the corner position. I thought that was really surprising. But yeah, I mean, the first two picks are. The first pick is strange because you think why, and then the second pick is just a reach that you just don't need to do. So I think when you take them two out of it, it's difficult to give them a grade that's very good, to be honest.
Well, we'll move on to our next team we're talking about, and really that will probably roll into the division as well. And that's the Dallas Cowboys. We're looking at their draft. So in the first round, they take Tyler Guyton, tackle from Oklahoma. Second round, Marshawn Nealon, defensive end from Western Michigan. Cooper Beebe or Bebe?
BB.
BB. Cooper Bebe. Third round, guard / center flexibility, Kansas State. Marist Leofau, linebacker at Notre Dame. Kaelin Carson, cornerback out of Wake. Ryan Florney, wide receiver. Nathan Thomas, offensive lineman. Justin Rogers, defensive tackle. Adam, I will stick on you with this. Surprising draft by the Cowboys. We know them historically to be splashy, to go for players that are going to bring in eyes, I suppose. They like a superstar. They didn't really even go for a superstar with the offensive tackle, I suppose, in Tyler Guyton. And two big needs for them is wide receiver outside of CD Lamb, which they don't have, and running back, even though now they have subsequently signed Ezekiel Elliott back there. However, we know them tires are pretty battered and run down. You know, that guy needs a quick fit job, that dude around there. Ask Sky, he'll know all about how Zeke did with the New England Patriots.
He wasn't that bad.
He wasn't that bad.
He's as much as
2 years ago, Zeke was the best running back in the league.
And yeah, of course.
He's not that bad.
He had his lead rushing. I know his average has been below 4 rushing yards per carry in the last 2 years, but he's still almost got 1,000 total yards of rushing and receiving. It was like in the mid 900s. I think the issue is they just should have drafted someone to complement him. But I'll let Adam go with that. But I just wanted to. I want to back Zeke up a bit. He was nice in that press conference in Germany to me. I got to back him up.
What's your overall thoughts on this draft by the Cowboys?
Again, I felt it was another team that just went O-line, D-line a lot. They kind of went for the Lions. That was what they thought. I think Guyton is probably, out of all the first round picks, I probably go he's the one who needs time in order to become a starter and be really good. I thought Marshawn Nealon was a good pick, but I felt it was a bit early. For him, he could have waited a little bit longer. Cooper Beebe is going to be good. I think he'll be good on the offensive line. He'll be good. And I thought Kaelin Carson was, given where they got him quite late in the 5th, I thought was definitely a value. I just feel like for a team that is supposedly win now, this is not a win now draft. This is a draft thinking of the future. And so because of that, it's kind of surprising in that way. I don't know. It doesn't make a lot of sense. If you're coming out saying you win now, you're saying you're going all in with Dak and you're going all in with CD Lamb and all of that, and then you bring these guys in, it feels a bit mixed messages and isn't quite right. So yeah, not great. Probably the worst one in their division, I would say. And that's obviously a bit of a concern for a team that really should be looking to try and progress.
Johnny, are you quite shocked at the fact they didn't even sort of knock around the running back and even knock around the running back market in free agency? You know, now they have Zeke Elliott, Royce Freeman, is it Rico Dowdle? And then who's the other one? Deuce Vaughn. That's the one. Yeah, they're the four. Yeah. Oh, off the top of my head straight away. I mean, I know Dallas football more than Sky does, apparently. It's always a dig at Dallas and Sky. Johnny, yeah, are you surprised by that? You know, it's very unlike Jerry to not be in the market for running back. You know, running back such a significant position, and also such a significant position for the Dallas Cowboys as well. I mean, I can't speak for last season, but the season before, you know, they won more games on the ground than they did in the air.
Well, yeah, I think, you know, Jerry Jones, I think, shot himself in the foot in this draft process when he said to a load of reporters that they were targeting Brooks, who was eventually brought in by the Panthers. You could see that, you know, the front office, I think, I can't remember who was with him in that press conference, but they obviously weren't pleased with what Jerry is doing. And, you know, his influence, I think, sometimes, you know, in the draft process can have an effect in taking, you know, bringing so much attention to the Cowboys, you know, a little bit negatively. But yeah, it was surprising that they didn't take a running back. I actually don't mind what they've done with the draft in, you know, building in the trenches. He obviously needs to do a lot of work on offensive line, having lost the center. Sorry, his name's gone. It's a bit can't remember. Tyron Smith as well, obviously joined the Jets. So, you know, guys.
Tyler Biadasz was the
yes, that's it. Biadasz, that's it. Yeah, sorry, my bad. And yeah, BB as well. I like what they did. You know, I always like a good trade, and then you know, getting value, I suppose, and bringing in a player of need. So yeah, I don't mind what they've done, but yeah, running back is obviously a concern, and I think Jerry just put them in a bit of doodah there. I think it was obvious that Brooks. I think before, you know, a lot of mock drafts had put him to the Cowboys, and yeah, that meant the Panthers inevitably moved up to go get him. So yeah, bit of a stinker there.
Andrew, I'll go over to you because it's your division. I mean, the Cowboys have got to be feeling a little bit disheartened after this offseason and this draft. When you look around that division in the NFC East, you know, your New York Giants have had a terrific draft with players like Malik Neighbors, Washington bringing in Jaden Daniels, the Eagles solidifying their cornerback position in Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, and also the offseason acquisitions by the Eagles, the Giants, and the Commanders as well. Every year it feels like we're saying it's the Eagles and Cowboys for that division. Is this now become a bit more of a level playing field in this division?
I think the Eagles are obviously head and shoulders above the rest in there. They should win that division easy. I think the Cowboys have taken a step back with this draft. And then I think the Commanders rebuild is going well nicely. I think the Giants have got a few more issues to catch the rest. Neighbors is a good start for that, getting a weapon. You know, Daboll's got to kind of play for his job, so getting the weapon might do that. But the thing I've got with this, and we're talking about the future and whether they're in it and how far they can go. Adam says win now and it being odd. He also then says, oh, these picks look like they're building for the future. Now, that comment there is what now strikes with me. If you're building for the future and you're getting Dak no weapons, and you're not investing in a wide receiver for Dak or a running back for Dak, I'd argue that you've then the owner in Jerry, who everyone tells me, oh, Dak's Jerry's guy, he'll re-sign him, he'll bring him back. I say they've had a draft that reads to me, I want McCarthy and Dak to prove themselves this year. I'm not going to get you weapons. I'm going to build the trenches. And if you can't do it with this team, you're both out. And it really strikes that to me that he's gone, I'm not going to build it around Dak because he's not going to be there. And McCarthy's gone with him. So it really, really looks to me that draft is I'm building for the future and it's not with them. And that's what I'm getting from it because, you know, if you're in the draft and we talk about the running back and we talk about round one picks that were misses or odd, round 3 was an odd one for me for the Cowboys, you know, fair enough. Benson and Brooks both off the board, but the Cowboys had 2 third-round picks. They went with BB with the first one of those picks. I'm happy with that. It would be good. It'd be good to build the run game. No issue with that. But then at pick 24 of the 3rd round, so pick 87 overall, yeah, they went with an off-the-ball linebacker in that pick when, for me, there was still a guy on the board that was one of my favorite running backs in college. At one point, he led the league in yards per carry. He was very underused because the team was always behind, and they relied on their quarterback to play hero ball most of the year because he's fantastic. And that's Marshawn Lloyd, who went in the next pick at pick 25 to Adams' Green Bay Packers. That miss on Lloyd in the 3rd round for me is one of the biggest misses and errors of the draft. So, yeah, I'm very baffled. And I think if that's the case, and I am right that they've gone and building for the future, it's not with Dak or McCarthy, where does that leave them next year? Because they're already slipped behind the Eagles. And if you wait any longer and the Commanders catch you, then maybe the Giants, I don't know, because their defense is strong, then they're in a different ball game there. It's not win now, is it? It's not win now anymore.
Andrew, reading between the lines of the Cowboys franchise, Sky, obviously it can be a little bit blurred lines sometimes. Do you echo Andrew's sentiment there?
Yeah, I feel like one thing, I know everyone keeps saying about my issue is them not getting a running back. But when we talk about the weapons, I mean, you know, Dak led the NFL in completions, passing touchdowns. Lamb had the most receptions. I don't have an issue with the receiving core. They've still got Lamb, Cooks, Tolbert. They could go and sign a guy like Tyler Boyd, underrated slot receiver, bring him in to replace a Michael Gallup. I think that's fine. I think the issue is just not getting a running back in the draft. But I completely agree with what Andrew said in terms of, I think we said on another show, I think it's like, prove yourself again. They hired Brian Schottenheimer, who was renowned, you know, for being a run-first coordinator when the Jets made those 2 AFC title games in 09 and 10. And I think we all sat here and thought last season, well, they're going to run the ball with Tony Pollard. It's going to work. But they actually ended up airing it out. So they caught teams off guard by doing that. And it's almost like Jerry Jones is saying, well, do that again, and then I'll give you both a deal. If not, then, well, we know they gave up that pick for Trey Lance, and maybe that's the future. But I think the Cowboys are still a playoff team. Completely agree that the Eagles have overtaken them because they had an amazing draft. But I don't think it's as bad as people make out. Adam and Andrew always speak about the trenches and how important they are. They've obviously improved there. My biggest issue is just going back to what Johnny said, not getting Brooks. Maybe Jerry Jones shot himself in the foot by talking him up too much because he would have fit in nicely in that offense.
But you said, you're talking about the offensive side of it, him throwing the ball. Yeah. I noticed for the last 2 years, when the run game wasn't there and when they didn't use the run game, because Pollard isn't there anymore, and Pollard had a good year last year, just didn't get in the end zone. When the run game wasn't there, when they didn't utilize Pollard, Dak was nowhere near as good, and he struggled massively. And that for me is the issue, that he's not going to be as effective passing and completion. Outside of Lamb and Ferguson, I don't think they've got anything good enough to win a championship.
I guess it was that game on the road against Philly. Like you said, they kept getting near the end zone, but they couldn't punch it in. And if that's the same narrative again, then I think Jerry probably turns around and says, well, my money's better off spent elsewhere.
Certainly an interesting time to be a Dallas Cowboys fan. Well, to be honest, it's always an interesting time to be a Dallas Cowboys fan. I don't think there's ever a blip in the road where it's not exciting for Dallas.